Don't you hate it when people whine and bitch and moan and complain about something, but whenever it comes to actually getting down to the nitty gritty and doing something about what you don't like, about changing what you don't like, about working to change what you don't like, you don't. But you're always there, up on your soapbox, whining, bitching, moaning, pissing, and complaining. Um, there's a user on YouTube that's not that's widely disliked for many different reasons, whether it be his stance on political issues or stance on homosexuals and the fact that they are beyond saving and it should be actually within the death penalty, or you should be eligible for the death penalty if you are homosexual or a practicing homosexual. Um, some people dislike him because he feels, or he goes on and on and on about how you'll never be a success in life if you cannot procreate your own children. Uh, yeah. You know, one of these things that just really grinds my gears with this guy is not what bothers most people. I mean, he goes on and on and on about the New World Order. You'll constantly see his videos on spy camera, how they're always watching us, how 9/11 was an inside job, how basically that our government is our own worst enemy. And I have to say that our government is our own worst enemy. When George Bush was in office, I think that he was a bigger terrorist, of a bigger threat than any terrorist, any foreign terrorist, was to the United States. I believe that George Bush hurt our country more than any terrorist could ever wish to. The thing is that when someone is whining and bitching and moaning and complaining and pointing out spy camera after spy camera after spy camera, pointing out that you shouldn't get the H1N1 vaccine, let alone any sort of vaccine whatsoever, because the government is trying to kill you, because you, where he's so conservative, the conservative party, the Republicans are not conservative enough for him. You would think that if someone values himself and his family just half as much as he claims, then he would do something about it. But he doesn't. You know, many people live off the grid and live quite well. You just have to know how to do it. And this man, I'm sure, is educated enough to figure out how to do this. I mean, he's a very smart man. He shows how he's able to fix electronics and everything like that in his videos and everything. You think that someone who is smart enough to do that can learn how to live off the grid, and quite well. But no, he bitches and whines about public schools, yet guess who's in public schools? His own daughters. He bitches and whines about how the New World Order is going to take over things and is going to try to kill us and bring down the population to a very bare minimum. Yet he does nothing but complain and whine. Now, he acts like he's got a set on him because he has his guns. If you look at his videos, my God, I have no problem with people owning guns and using them. The Second Amendment is a wonderful thing, and we should never have our rights to bear arms taken away. But having the right to bear arms does not necessarily mean that you should own assault rifles. You know, a handgun, a rifle, shotgun, whatever. But you don't need an AK of any kind. I don't think the bears are in the hood, you know what I mean? You should have it for sport, mostly protection. My God, this anybody who has more than 20 guns, especially when it's just him and his wife that are above the age of 18 in their household, really is trying to compensate for something. But I've seen this man compensate for a lot of things, or at least attempt to compensate for quite a few things. His gun collection is beyond repair. Um, and his attitude about gays or homosexuality is just scary. It's amazing. I could have said the most horrible things to him before he knew that I was a lesbian. But he found out that I was gay, and I'll tell you, nothing I could say gets through to him. All of a sudden, he's got a rock shield right in front of his face, or in front of his ears, should I say. If I say anything that would make anybody think, uh, all he has to do is bring up, well, that just comes from the mind of a retrograde, or whatever. Uh, I think what bothers me most about him is that he's not what he claims to be. You could be the worst person in the world. You could make Adolf Hitler look like a fucking saint. And I don't think that you would bother me nearly as much as he does, because as long as you are honest about who you are, that wouldn't bother me nearly as much. And he's not. I think you all know who we're talking about. God, guns, guts, and glory. Now he's like God, guns, guts, and glory extra because his page was shut down for the umpteenth time. I don't understand. I don't think... He always emphasizes those guts. But he's got none. I honestly don't know what he would do if he lost his guns. He wouldn't be able to protect himself. He wouldn't be able to protect his family. And basically I could see him crying in the corner and pissing on himself if someone should happen to do anything heavier than going boo towards him if he didn't have his gun. I don't mind guns, but damn, learn how to protect yourselves in multiple ways, you know? Especially if you claim to have guts. Do something about the government if you don't like it. Don't just sit there and go to tea parties, piss, whine, and moan and hiss about it. Do something. You know? Do something if you think the government's going to try to kill us. Go live off the grid. Take your kids out of public schools. Put your money where your mouth is. But he doesn't. Because he's a pussy. Blessed be.